Thank you for visiting the Coinceras channel again. The Ripple vs SEC case is winding down, you guys. Along with the SEC's final reply brief and any supplementary materials. The present legal dispute between Ripple and SEC is expected to conclude soon, as it began on May 8, 2020. With the recent delivery of the SEC's final reply brief, the matter involving Ripple and the SEC has progressed to the finalization stage. To determine which redactions are most suitable, there will be a final meeting of all stakeholders to review the submission, which is sensitive information. In the matter of Ripple v. SEC, the SEC has filed their last brief. With the submission of its final response and supplementary materials, Ripple and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission are finally going to settle their long-running legal dispute on May 8. Officials have announced that the final reply brief in the Ripple versus litigation has been submitted. Details of the document are being withheld by the SEC for the time being, but a redacted version is set to be disclosed to the public on May 8, 2024. In order to prevent this, the SEC and Ripple will collaborate to scrub the document of any personally identifiable information. Is this a major turning point in the Ripple's lawsuit? A nearly $2 billion fine against Ripple was proposed in the preliminary brief by the Securities and Exchange Commission's Shane Commission. The SEC had claimed that the firm had broken federal securities laws by selling its native coin, XRP, to institutions. Furthermore, Ripple suggested settling for a sum of money no greater than $10 million, claiming that the proposed punishment was excessive. Another thing that lawyers hope for in the most alluring final report is an analysis of the arguments put forward in response to the agency's first recommendations for solutions. If there is an appeal of the final decision, the lawsuit has the potential to be prolonged until 2025. In the year 2020, specifically 2021-22, an SEC action had been filed against Ripple Labs and its executives, alleging that they had violated federal securities laws and engaged in unlawful conduct within the cryptocurrency sector. The corporation was also said to have generated revenue through the use of an unregistered security. Metal Wayman, a prominent figure in the cryptocurrency industry and a prolific Twitter user, has shed some insight on the SEC's case against Ripple. Specifically, he has zeroed in on the SEC's most recent filing concerning damages and discouragement. He said that the SEC has failed to make a compelling case for victims or why disgorgement should be the preferable remedy in the discussion of actions. A Metal Lemon would say, artificially inflated stockholder investments meet the pecuniary injury standard, according to a single district court opinion known as SFC 6 New, on which the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) mostly relies. This year, the Securities and Exchange Commission took the position that institutional buyers who paid a lower price for XRP than others are the ones who went through the financial harm due to the inflated pricing. Reason being, an increased price tag definitely indicates inflation. However, Metal Man expressed doubts about the correct understanding of the case's facts, claiming that the ruling was based on a misreading of a statement made by the Second Circuit in the case of Second v. Seville. He also noted that the judge who issued the FS ruling referred to it as Metal Vaman and raised concerns about the SEC's reliance on eFresh as a precedent for determining pecuniary harm. It was also deemed improper to bring up a not-for-publication ruling, as he was cited as saying in the past. If the SEC wants to discourage anything, it has to have the weakest possible basis. There are good grounds for the court to order an injunction and a deterrent, as stated in the lawsuit that the Securities and Exchange Commission filed in court, claiming that Ripple broke securities laws. Reason being, selling unregistered XRP currencies is still Ripple's mainstay. The SEC thinks the court should impose the injunction to prevent more violations since Ripple intends to distribute more unregistered crypto assets. In the brief that was given to the court, the Securities and Exchange Commission states that Ripple's newly formed company structure could be linked to possible future violations. It is said that Ripple has good reasons to sell XRP regardless of whether it breaks the law. The fact that its on-demand liquidity has been significantly enhanced further proves this point. In its application, the Securities and Exchange Commission sought injunctive action despite having sued over those transactions based on this line of thinking, as well as Ripple's refusal to admit guilt and the apparent shifting of blame. Ripple's claim that investors have not lost money is inconsistent, according to the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC). Junior harm can happen when disclosure mistakes cause prices to be inflated. It is likely that the Securities and Exchange Commission will grant injunctive relief and discouragement, even though they made a profit from buying and selling XRP. This is because the price was artificially inflated due to a lack of transparency. He was cognizant of the fact that the court might decide that Ripple's institutional investors have suffered financial harm, following the precedent set by eFresh. Nonetheless, this remains quite unlikely. That way, his actions exposed the Securities and Exchange Commission's SEC contradictions, such as its reliance on a non-binding case to support its claims and their defense of his discouragement without offering evidence. Regardless, the court brief shows that the SEC's goal is to prevent future violations using injunctive relief and the execution of fines and penalties that punish and discourage future violations, even though Metalman is critical of the tactic. It also highlights the SEC's resolve to bring Ripple to account for its actions and the ways in which it neglected to offer suitable disclosure standards in its business dealings. The final decision in this matter may have far-reaching implications for the cryptocurrency industry's regulatory strategy from the standpoint of the SEC. Cryptocurrency enthusiasts and legal professionals are closely watching the SEC's actions in response to this incident, particularly the Ripple counterattacks that are targeting the global community. Stewart, Ripple's chief legal officer, responded to the SEC's stance in the appellate brief by stating that the regulator's credibility is steadily declining. He made the astute observation that the SEC may confound foreign financial authorities who have developed robust cryptocurrency regulation systems. Mr. Aldeiridi bemoaned the lack of consistency within the agency while criticizing the poor enforcement of regulations. But experts are hoping that the XRP litigation will reach a final decision by September. The video ends there. Do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye for now.